One day, a young man was walking down a dusty road with an elder from his village. The old man chuckled softly. Life wasn't always this hard, son. I believe you, sir. Hard times just visit different generations. Suddenly, a fancy van pulls up beside them on the quiet rural street. The tinted window slides down, revealing a well-dressed politician, smiling as if for invisible cameras. Good afternoon, fathers of the land. He booms, he signals to someone inside, and a bag of peppers is handed out. Here, he says, share it between the two of you. God bless. And just as quickly as it appeared, the van speeds off, leaving a cloud of red dust behind. The elderly man opens the bag. Inside, a mix of fresh, big, healthy peppers and others that are already soft, wrinkled, and starting to spoil. Without a word, the old man carefully picks out all the best peppers, placing them into his own sack. He then hands the rest, the spoiled ones, to the young man. Here you go, son. The young man looks down at the peppers he was given. His smile fades just a little. A flicker of hurt crosses his eyes, but he quickly hides it. Thank you, sir, he says gracefully. They continue walking, but a heavy silence hangs between them. The young man said nothing, but his heart felt heavy. He believed he had been treated unfairly, but he carries the bag home. Later that evening, at his small, simple home, the young man empties the bag. He inspects the peppers, one by one. He thinks to himself, the fruit may be spoiled, but the seeds are still alive. Carefully, he cuts open each spoiled pepper, removes the tiny seeds, and lays them out on a cloth to dry in the evening air. His father once gave him a piece of land. It wasn't pretty. It was rough, covered in red dirt, bushes, and stones, but it was his. The young man got to work. He cleared the bushes and moved the heavy stones. He tilled the hard red dirt, breaking it up until it was soft enough for planting. He prepared nursery beds with care, and then he planted the dried pepper seeds. It took him 2 full days just to transplant all the tiny seedlings that sprouted because the seeds were many. Every single morning, he showed up to his field. There was no applause. There were no shortcuts. There was just him, the earth, and his work. He watered the plants as the sun rose. He molded the soil around their bases when it was time. He fertilized them carefully, giving them just what they needed to grow strong. He worked through the rain and the sun, through changing seasons, armed with nothing but faith, discipline, and patience. 4 months later, the land was transformed. It was no longer a rough patch of red dirt. It was a vibrant, sprawling field, overflowing with huge, healthy, sweet peppers. The sight was unbelievable. The young man stood in the middle of his creation, looking around in awe. He whispered to himself, "Look what grew from what was rejected." That evening, as he watched the news, a report caught his attention. The news anchor was saying, "Sweet peppers are now in short supply nationwide. Prices have risen drastically due to scarcity." The young man's eyes widened. An idea began to form. The next day, he walked through his community, calling out, "Anyone looking for work?" Pepper picking paid daily. A few people agreed, eager for the work. Among them was the same elderly man who had taken the good peppers. "I need the money," the old man said. "I'll work." The young man looked at him kindly and said, "Come with me." He led the group, which also included a young chef from a local restaurant, to his field. As they arrived, everyone stopped dead in their tracks, with their mouths falling open. The elderly man was the first to speak, his voice filled with shock. "My God." The chef, equally stunned, said, "I've never seen peppers like this in my life." He immediately pulled out his phone and started recording the incredible sight. "Our restaurant is short on sweet peppers," he explained. "My boss needs to see this." The video went viral among local businesses. Just 2 days later, the farm was a hive of activity. Trucks were being loaded with crates of peppers. Buyers were shaking the young man's hand, deals being made on the spot. Money was exchanging hands faster than he could have imagined. In just 2 days, every single pepper was sold at a very, very high price. That evening, the field was quiet and clear once more. The young man stood calmly, a sense of peace washing over him. Wealth had found him, not by chance, but by choice. The elderly man approached him, humbled and hesitant. "Son, how did you get so many peppers? Such a huge field." The young man looked at him gently. "Do you remember the day we received a bag of peppers on the road?" The elderly man froze, the memory hitting him like a physical blow. The young man continued, his voice soft. "You took the good ones, and you gave me the spoiled ones." The air grew still. "I dried the seeds," the young man said. "I put them in a nursery, then I transplanted them here." The elderly man's eyes filled with regret, and his voice shook as he spoke. "I am deeply sorry." The young man offered a peaceful smile. "It's all right. Everything played its part." Sometimes the worst thing someone gives you is where it all begins. What was meant to diminish you can become the very thing that multiplies you. What was rejected can become your greatest harvest. Never despise what arrives in your life in a broken or spoiled form. You never know, there may be seeds inside that will change your life forever. What you do with what you are given matters so much more than what you were given in the first place. Thank you for watching this story. If you enjoyed it, please remember to subscribe, share this video with your friends, leave a comment, and like this video. Your support helps us create more stories just like this one. See you in the next video.